You can train perfectly for 16 weeks and still destroy your race in 6 days. Not because you're unfit, but because you misunderstood what the final week is actually doing to your body. And most runners never realize it until it's too late. 7 days before my last marathon, everything went quiet, and that silence terrified me more than any 20-mile-long run ever had. For 16 weeks, my life had been loud. Alarms before sunrise, breath scraping in my throat during tempo intervals, legs throbbing on the drive home. Fatigue was constant, almost comforting. It meant I was building something. And then suddenly, nothing. Mileage dropped. The long runs disappeared. My watch stopped scaring me. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt exposed. Standing in my kitchen that Tuesday of race week, I had a thought that hit harder than any workout. What if I ruined 4 months of work in 6 days? No one talks about that part. The silence, the doubt, the urge to do just one more hard session to be safe. The paranoia that you're losing fitness by the hour. If you've ever felt that creeping anxiety during taper week, stay with me. This might change how you see the final days before a race. And if you value performance science explained through real experience, consider subscribing. It helps this channel keep diving deep into what actually makes us better athletes. Because I used to think tapering meant resting. I was completely wrong. That fear forced me to question something I had never examined before. What tapering actually is. For years, I treated taper like a reward phase. Training was discipline. Taper was permission. Permission to sleep in, permission to cut runs short, permission to mentally clock out. I thought fitness was something you stored in a vault, and as long as you stopped spending energy, it would just sit there waiting for race day. But the body doesn't work like a savings account. Fitness is a moving target. It's an active adaptation, not a static possession. When you reduce training load, you're not just resting, you're shifting hormonal signals, neural output, and blood dynamics. The system is recalibrating in real time. I remember realizing this almost too late. I had slashed my mileage dramatically one race week, thinking more rest meant more freshness. Instead, I felt dull and disconnected at the start line. Not tired, just flat, like the edge had been sanded off. That's when it hit me. Tapering isn't about comfort, it's about precision. It's about removing fatigue without letting the body think the fight is over. And that balance is far more fragile than most of us realize. And the first place I began to understand that fragility was in my hormones. At the peak of a training cycle, your body is not thriving, it's surviving. Every long run, every threshold session, pushes you deeper into a controlled breakdown. Cortisol stays elevated. Muscle fibers are constantly repairing. You walk around slightly inflamed, slightly depleted, telling yourself this is what progress feels like. Then you cut the volume, strategically, not dramatically. And something fascinating happens. The body shifts gears. Testosterone begins to rebound. The testosterone to cortisol ratio improves. Glycogen synthesis ramps up. Red blood cell levels stabilize. It's like releasing tension on a stretched elastic band and watching it snap forward with more force. But I learned the hard way that this rebound only works if the reduction is measured. One race, I overcorrected. I cut too much, moved too little, convinced I was maximizing recovery. By Friday, I felt heavy and oddly sluggish. Later, I understood why. Plasma volume can decrease if the stimulus drops too far. Stroke volume follows, the engine idles lower. That's the tightrope. You're not just resting, you're triggering an anabolic rebound without letting the system power down. And that requires intention, not instinct. But hormones are only half the equation. The nervous system is where I nearly sabotaged myself. My instinct during taper used to be simple. Slow everything down. Keep the heart rate low. Avoid anything that felt remotely fast. I thought speed would cost me something I couldn't afford to lose. What I didn't understand is that speed, in small, precise doses, isn't a cost. It's a signal. Your neuromuscular system adapts to whatever you repeatedly show it. Spend an entire week moving gently and it will respond by lowering tension. Muscle stiffness decreases. Elastic recoil softens. The communication between your brain and your fast-twitch fibers becomes quieter. You don't feel tired. You feel muted. The first time I skipped strides during taper, I showed up on race day feeling disconnected from my own legs. Not fatigued, just flat. Now, I see taper week differently. Short strides at roughly 85 to 90% effort, 20 seconds at a time, full recovery between. Not to build fitness, not to chase speed, just to remind the system how to fire. It's like tapping the gas pedal to keep the engine responsive. You're not exhausting the machine, you're keeping the spark alive. And just when you think you've balanced the physiology, your mind starts playing tricks on you. Taper week has a strange psychological edge to it. The moment training load drops, the protective fog of endorphins begins to thin. During heavy weeks, your brain is generous with natural painkillers. Small aches get blurred out. Tight spots fade into the background noise of effort. But when the workload decreases, that chemical buffer recedes. Suddenly, everything feels amplified. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed 3 days before a race, flexing my ankle over and over because I was convinced my Achilles felt off. It wasn't sharp pain, it was just noticeable. And that was enough to spiral. There's a term for this heightened awareness, somatosensory amplification. I think of it as taper paranoia. The system is rebooting, recalibrating, and your brain misreads the quiet as danger. The temptation is to test it, to run harder just to prove you're fine. But that's the trap. What I've learned is that heaviness, slight stiffness, even a dull lethargy can signal parasympathetic dominance, your body storing energy, consolidating adaptation. Feeling perfect on Wednesday isn't the goal. Peaking on Sunday is. Once I understood that my sensations weren't emergencies, I started paying attention to something more tangible, what I was carrying inside my body. Most of us think about carb loading as simply eating more pasta and hoping for the best. I used to do exactly that. More food, more fuel, more security, but no one had ever explained the other side of the equation: unnecessary weight. In the final days before a race, your goal isn't just to top off glycogen, it's to optimize the ratio between fuel and mass. The digestive tract can hold a surprising amount of fiber and residue. That's the weight you're transporting for 26.2 miles without any performance return. When I first experimented with lowering fiber intake, shifting towards simpler carbohydrate sources, reducing bulky vegetables and whole grains temporarily, I was skeptical. It felt counter to everything I'd been told about clean eating. But race morning told a different story. I felt lighter without feeling depleted, full but not heavy. It wasn't about dieting or restriction, it was about mechanical efficiency, a full tank with less dead weight. That subtle adjustment changed how I thought about preparation. Not just more fuel, smarter load. And once I stopped obsessing over what I was carrying in my gut, I realized there was something even heavier I needed to unload: mental noise. Race week used to turn me into a researcher. I'd scroll forums late at night, compare weather forecasts obsessively, and reconsider pacing plans I had trusted for months. Every new piece of information felt urgent. Every opinion felt relevant. I told myself I was being thorough. What I was actually doing was draining myself. Decision-making isn't free. Every choice pulls from the same limited cognitive reserve you'll need at mile 20 when things start to unravel. Willpower burns glucose. Anxiety spikes adrenaline. Overthinking quietly taxes the nervous system you just worked so hard to stabilize. I began to notice a pattern. The races where I felt calm weren't the ones where I had the most information. They were the ones where I had the least uncertainty. So I built a script: fixed meals, predetermined shakeout runs, a set bedtime, no last-minute changes, no new shoes, no experimental hydration tweaks. The fewer decisions I made during race week, the more decisive I felt on race day. That, more than anything, preserved my edge. When I finally simplified race week, something shifted in me that had nothing to do with mileage or macros. I accepted that the building phase was over. That realization is uncomfortable. As athletes, we're wired to believe progress comes from doing more volume, more effort, more control. But in the final days before a race, more becomes the enemy. You cannot meaningfully increase fitness in 6 days. You can only disturb it, so the mission changes. You stop trying to improve the engine and start protecting it. Protect the adaptations layered over months of work. Protect the sharpness in your stride. Protect the glycogen you've carefully stored. Protect the calm you've cultivated. For me, taper week became less about preparation and more about restraint. It's a different kind of discipline, quieter, less visible, but just as demanding. And once I embraced that role, I stopped fearing the silence. I started respecting it. And once I began respecting that silence, race week stopped feeling like a threat and started feeling like a responsibility. If you're standing where I once stood, staring at a lighter training schedule, questioning every sensation, understand this: the work is already behind you. The miles are in your legs. The adaptations are built. Nothing heroic needs to happen now. What matters is protection. Protect your fitness from impatience. Protect your nervous system from unnecessary stress. Protect your glycogen from poor decisions. Protect your mind from spiraling into doubt. You don't need a breakthrough in the final days. You need steadiness. I learned that the hard way, almost sabotaging months of discipline because I couldn't tolerate stillness. Now I see taper differently. It's not a weakness, it's containment. Do exactly enough, nothing extra. And when you step to the start line, you won't just feel rested, you'll feel ready and dangerous. Taper taught me something bigger than racing. Performance isn't built only in the grind, it's revealed in restraint. The final week isn't about adding more, it's about trusting what you've already earned. In training and in life, we often sabotage progress because we can't tolerate stillness. We overwork, overthink, and overcorrect. But growth requires cycles: stress, then consolidation; effort, then protection. The real discipline is knowing when to push and when to preserve. Apply that outside of running. Before a big presentation, a career move, a major decision, stop trying to add more at the last second. Protect your preparation. Trust your foundation. Execute calmly. I'm curious. Do you struggle more with doing too much or not doing enough before big moments? Share your thoughts in the comments so we can learn from each other. And if this helped you think differently, consider subscribing to support the channel and keep this conversation going.